Hi, St. Francis. I'm Elizabeth, and I'm going to share my reflection for today. As you are well aware, we are now approximately 2 months into the coronavirus pandemic. We have been confined to our homes and could be feeling alone, troubled, and for those of us that like to feel in control, we may be feeling like life is beyond our control. We are beginning to see signs of hope as some of the restrictions begin to ease, the proverbial light at the end of the tunnel. That light has always been here, right in front of us. It is the light of the risen Christ. The light of Christ shines brightly for us every day, but particularly now during the Easter season. In the Gospel of John, Jesus said, "Behold, the hour is coming and has arrived when each of you will be scattered to his own home, and you will leave me alone. But I am not alone, because the Father is with me. I have told you this so that you might have peace in me. In the world you will have trouble, but take courage. I have conquered the world." Even 2,000 years after this scripture was written, it still feels current to the experience in our lives with the coronavirus and how we can approach every day with peace and hope because we know of the presence of God in our lives. I have always had a desire to be in control, while others are comfortable with whatever crosses their path. For all of us, the coronavirus has taken away our control. Some feel more comfortable with this than others. We were told to stay home, to stay healthy, but it is impossible to give us a time frame. In this imposed lack of control, I have discovered that there is something freeing about feeling that I have absolutely no control over anything whatsoever. In my world at the church, Governor Inslee makes the big decisions about closing and opening things in order to protect the vulnerable and all of our community. Then a committee at the Seattle Archdiocese decides what the directives mean for the church. The parishes are then asked to implement what the directives indicate. All control is out of my hands. When you realize you have no control, it is easier to place everything in the hands of God and trust in His providence and love. It is beyond our understanding and vision to see what the coronavirus will mean for the church of the future. Many believe that this crisis is a disruption, merely an interruption in our lives. I read an article that said this crisis is an accelerator, that it reveals and amplifies the weaknesses that were already there, and also accelerates trends that were emerging anyway. We may long for what was, in hope that things return to what we consider normal. I don't think that our experience of church will ever go back to the way it was. Things that we loved about the past may not be part of the future. There is something that we can be certain of, that God has everything under His control and has taken that control out of our hands in a way that we have never experienced in our lifetime. We have trouble in our world, but we can relax and trust that God has conquered even this. Henry Nouwen shared a story about the flying Rollies, a couple of trapeze artists that I find applicable to the situation these days with the coronavirus. One day, I was sitting with Rodley, the leader of the troupe, in his caravan, talking about flying. He said, "As a flyer, I must have complete trust in my catcher. The public might think that I am the great star of the trapeze, but the real star is Joe, my catcher. He has to be there for me with split-second precision and grab me out of the air as I come to him in the long jump." "How does it work?" I asked. The secret, Rodley said, is that the flyer does nothing and the catcher does everything. When I fly to Joe, I have simply to stretch out my arms and hands and wait for him to catch me and pull me safely over the apron behind the catch bar. You do nothing? I said, surprised. Nothing, Rodley said. A flyer must fly and a catcher must catch. And the flyer must trust with outstretched arms that his catcher will be there for him. When Rodley said this with so much conviction, the words of Jesus flashed through my mind. Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. God will be there for us, always, in every situation we face throughout our lives. Don't try to grab him. He will grab you. Just stretch out your hands and trust. 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 My friends, God is our catcher. Just stretch out your hands and trust. Have a blessed day.